When we forum started, it was presented as a campus paper or a paper for campus activities for students. The first copy came out in May 1, 1977. And the reason why it had to adopt that kind of personality was so that we could get a permit. Kasi martial law na nun, no? But no one could get a permit if you would say that this would be a political paper. So for us to be able to secure a permit to publish, because we didn't want to also to go underground, kailangan legal talaga. So the first few issues featured articles that would interest students. And when we started, aside from Mr. Burgos, who was a professional journalist, he was a publisher, editor, our staff members were actually students. Second year, third year, fourth year students from different universities, Centro Escolar University, San Beda, Letran, and the universities around the university belt. At that time, Mr. Burgos then was the public affairs officer of the Philippine National Oil Company, and he was in charge of the Enercon generation. And these were the student leaders who attended. And on the side, aside from the Enercon thing, they would complain to Joe kasi sinasabi nila, hindi nila maisulat yung gusto nila, sinasensor yung kanilang articles and all. So, and also unti-unting nawala na yung College Editors Guild. So Mr. Burgos, who really had a heart for students, gathered them together and allowed them to be able to reorganize, and they call themselves the MACE, Metropolitan Association of College Editors. Kasi ang CEGP, binuwag. So hindi na pwedeng gamitin yung name. So parang pansamantala yon during martial law, yun yung nag-exist. And these were editors and writers in their own campus papers. So sila yung nag-umpisa with Joe Burgos as a publisher editor. Joe trained them actually on the job na agad . After 2 days of seminar workshop, parang this is what we're going to do, ask the permission of your parents and all that. So silang unang-una, that was in 1977. In fact, yung first coverage nila, kasi May 1, Labor Day yun, di ba? Nahuli na agad yung dalawang nag-cover sa luneta ng rally. Kasi akala ng mga pulis, nagloloko lang sila kasi mga students, mukhang students, bata pa . And they had their ID with forum, sabi nila, ano ba yan? Siyempre hindi nila kilala at that time. So, first day, first coverage, takbo na kami sa presinto para kunin sila. Kasi kinuha sila . Okay. So, that was the start of before. But Joe Burgos had to give up a very lucrative position to be able to come up with a newspaper. He talked to the family, the children, and told them what he was going to do because he was no longer happy with where he was. Sabi niya, kakainin ako ng sistema. We're getting used to a lot of luxuries and I don't want that. I want to go back to writing. And the children naman, we voted on that at the family council and all the children agreed. Okay lang, Daddy, even if we are deprived of some things, paglaki naman namin, maipagmamalaki ka namin. Those are the words of the children. So, pinurso namin yon without any capital. We borrowed a table and he borrowed a typewriter. And that was how we started. His father, a pioneer of community papers, Jose Burgos Sr., had a printing press. But this is the old antique printing press na may tingga pa, na binuboil, na may mga molds and all. Tapos baliktad mo pa, babasahin. That was how we started. So doon kami nakiki-imprenta. And whatever we got from the sale, yun ang pagbibili ko ng paper for printing for the next issue. So mano a mano talaga. Very, very crude, no? And there were only 2 of us, really. I was in charge of managing, cleaning up the office, borrowing money for the paper, and collecting the sales from newsboys. And Mr. Burgos himself, along with my eldest son, would go out to look for dealers para ibenta kasi takot silang ibenta dahil Siyempre, inaharas yung dealers and newsboys. Pero unti-unti, no, from being a paper for students, unti-unting nag-evolve yung newspaper into a political paper. And of course, you know that we had very good columnists, Senator Rodrigo, Soc Rodrigo, Din Malay, Professor Gonzales, S.T. Huco, consumerist, Julie Amargo, Ernie Rodriguez, the names during that time, no? So, very hard-hitting talaga yung columnists. And also, the newspaper eventually became a recipient of a lot of exposés from friends in government and in high places. Binibigyan kami documents. Doon naman ilalabas yung hindi na ilalabas sa ibang dyaryo. Yun yung We Forum.
Then, how about po naman yung raid? The raid happened after
It
the
was in
martial law, right?
December 7, eve of December 8, no?
Oh.
December 7, when 1982 when we were raided, because we knew it was coming. A few months before that, marami nang pasabi sa amin yung friends namin na military na mainit na ang mata sa inyo. And I think a month before that, November, and Marcos gave a speech sa veterans. He was holding the newspaper and he was saying yung We Forum, ipapakain ko ito sa producer, sa publisher editor. Galit na galit siya noon because we published the fake medals and the war exploits that was non-existent. Kasi yung columnist namin, nag-research talaga siya. He went to the U.S. Congress and he came up with this expose. And Mr. Burgos himself wrote the article about the fake medals. So, siyempre galit. I think that triggered the raid. During the raid, they took everything. The printing press, the office, the vehicles, even the rice that was supposed to be for the employees. And they broke all the furniture inside the office. Pinutol-putol yung mga upuan, yung lamesa.
During that time po, students pa rin yung writers?
Hindi na, kasi nag-evolve na rin sila, nag-graduate na rin sila.
Okay.
And we had a full retinue of employees na by that time, 1982 na. But since it was a family company, family corporation, ang kunyari production manager was the brother of Mr. Burgos, the circulation manager was my brother, the advertising manager was another brother of Mr. Burgos, because people were afraid really to work with us, na very visible ang pangalan, kasi meron threat. True enough, during the raid, lahat sila inaresto, lahat ang nandun sa staff box, kinuha. Two of Joe Burgos, along with the columnists, two of his brothers and my brother. So, lahat sila arrested, nandun sa ASO. I firmly believe that he should not be buried at Libingan ng Bayani. He does not deserve to be buried alongside with other heroes. Ang dami ng arguments niya, no? I mean, we've heard all the arguments. But for me, the strongest argument is that it will be a symbolic action of not only forgiving but forgetting. As of is now, Bongbong almost won, which means that the children do not know. The young people who are rooting for Bongbong do not know what happened. By doing this, by allowing the burial of the body, it's just like saying na totoo nga yung wala naman talaga silang kasalanan. Totoo nga ang hero ito. No matter what they say, semantics, sinasabi nila, hindi naman siya. It's not because he's a hero, but because he was president. But even as president, who not only did not help his country, but was the cause of his country's being impoverished, impoverished not only financially, but in terms of values. No? Yung ang nangyari sa military na there's a culture of violence, impunity na pinamana from his watch, from Marcos's time. Ngayon nga yung culture of violence, yung torture noon, nirefine up to this point now that I have been able to talk to survivors of tortures, that inhuman and something that should not happen in a Christian country or maybe in any place, because it is not human to do these things to a fellow human being. Kahit sa hayop, hindi mo nga gagawin yung klase ng torture na ginagawa nila. And where did it start? It all started during the time of Marcos, during martial law. It was allowed. And I pity those who I have talked to who are in uniform who say, ginawa namin yun para sa inang bayan, to torture a fellow human being, to kill, to disappear, and to question also the motives of those who give their life, who are in the other side, no? Sabihin natin left. So that is one of the reasons why I really do not agree that he should be buried. The values that he has started and now is being passed on are not Filipino Christian values. They're very selfish values. For as long as you want to stay in power, pwede mong gawitin yon, pwede mong patayin ang tao. Yung war sa Sulu, how did it start? Sa Jabida Massacre. During his time also, tingnan mo ang minamana ng mga anak natin, mga apo natin. Yung mga nakatira sa Sulu, most of them don't want violence. Most of them want to live peacefully. Pero namana yan eh. Saan nag-umpisa doon? Ibabalik pa ba natin yan? Parang yun ang simbolo nun. Na tama yung ginawa noon, ngayon, gagayahin natin ulit. And also, the young people now should know that there are lies that should be uncovered. Ang hirap niyan, they peddle their lies as the truth. So we must be able to present the truth again for them to see. Kasi kung hindi nila makikita, hindi nila alam, how can they also make decisions wisely? I believe in forgiving. I do not believe in forgetting. And also, when we believe that it is right, we should do what we can, no? So that what is right and what is good will prevail. Tulad nga ng sinasabi nila, if you believe in something but don't do it, what kind of witness are you? It's like an empty, like a sound of a bell, nawawala lang, sandali lang, di ba? That's also the reason why now I am active again, in spite of my age, in the effort, no, to prevent the burial. My effort is very small. Isang tao lang ako, but I think one person can make a difference. Just like Joe Burgos, he was only one. We thought we could not be successful with the publishing, with the newspaper, but one man made a difference. No? He contributed to the restoration of democracy. He was not alone, no? We have no monopoly of courage or doing something that we thought would help the country. Ang dami nun. But he did his part. If all of us would do our part, us old people talk about it, let the young people know, baka namang hindi matuloy yung living. If you write that martial law never happened, then you're denying your history. You do not know what you're talking about. Diba? Tell them to read before. Nandoon mga atrocities na ginawa nila. You know, it's very sad, no? That there are people who do that, but personally, ang conclusion niyan, bayarin sila. Binabayaran sila para i-distort ang history. Because if you look at history, pwede mo bang i-deny na may martial law? Nandiyan yan eh. Ang pwede mong i-deny, yung atrocities, kasi hindi talaga nilagay sa history books. Absent yun. But now that is being corrected. How can you explain the more than 3,000 victims of extrajudicial killing? More than 75,000 ang nag-apply, nag-claim, no? How can you deny that it ever happened? If there are claimants who were tortured, who were raped, and the kinds of torture, my God, all you have to do is look at the lives of those who died and were tortured. And they have the scars to prove that. If they cannot see that, they have no right to be journalists. They're not journalists. They're lying. And I can look them to the face and say, the Marcoses stole from our family. Kinuha nila lahat. So anong tawag mo doon? Magnanakaw, di ba? Where were they? Bakit hindi nila pwede isulat yan? Pumunta lang sila sa Bantayo, makita nila yung torture chamber, kung paano nangyari yung abuses noon. As Commander-in-Chief, he was responsible for all of this. And to keep him in power. So if you write now that there was no martial law, there were no abuses, there were no killings, the simple conclusion is that you're being paid for them. Para ma-distort mo nga ang history. Sa millennials, no, I do not blame them. Actually, part of the blame lies sa older generation. Kasi hindi namin naisulat, hindi namin naipasa sa kanila. My children, grandchildren, they know it because we talk about it. We were very open all throughout and they know what happened. Ayoko takutin yung mga millennials, pero alam niyo kung ano ang martial law? Hindi mo pwede masabi yung gusto mo. Sabihin mo lang pangit sila, bulok sila, you can be jailed for that. You can be disappeared. You cannot go out of your house freely. Even your properties can be taken from you. Wala kang kalaban-laban. You can be jailed and arrested for a political belief. Kasi naniniwala ka na mas maganda ang socialism, pwede kang i-jail doon. And you can rot in jail. Ayan, kanya nga nangyayari sa political prisoners. Ngayon. And you lose the best years of your life in jail. Doing what? I think the reason why there is a dearth of very good leadership now, you remember during the elections, marami ang nagsasabing wala akong mapili. Kasi, bakit wala kang mapili? Kasi sabi nila yung isa, tuta ng Amerikano, sabi nila yung isa, manhid sa mga mahihirap. No? Sabi nila yung isa, may tililing. Yung parang ganun. Bakit? Kasi pinatay na nila yung mga leaders noon Dinisappear na nila. Kung buhay sila ang mga the likes of Lea Alejandro, Edgar Hobson, ang dami nilang brilliant people and who were really nationalists, they love their country. Kung hindi nila pinatay at nawala, sila sana ang naging leaders natin ngayon. So that can happen again. Nakakatakot kasi yung millennials, parang iba ang focus ngayon. But if only you could use your skills in social media, ang galing mag-Google, di ba? Hanapin niyo kung ano nangyari ng martial law. At malala, makikita niyo na so much power was concentrated only in one man, and this was abused to enrich the family. Kung hindi dahil sa pagpayaman nila, sana ngayon hindi naging hirap ang Pilipino. Sana ngayon, pati yung farmer, pati yung pinakamaliit na Filipino, maayos ang buhay. Kasi hanggang ngayon nagbabayad na tayo ng utang. At mamanayin niyo mga anak nyo, kayong mga millennial, anak nyo, apo nyo. At kung hindi pa, if we don't learn our lesson from the past, mas, God forbid, mas malala ang mangyayari in the future. Because it will happen again.